Hello, hello, welcome back to the Run Up Your Alley channel. I am so excited to talk with you today about how you can plan your best summer ever. So that comes down to vacation, it comes down to family, finances, and then also like actually budgeting in fun and something that's actually fun, right? I feel like when we become adults, we lose our fun. So we're gonna go through all of those things together in this video, some tips and tricks that I've found from traveling all over the world, and some things that you can think about so that you really can feel at the beginning of fall like you made the most of the summer that's coming up. Before we get into it, my name is Allee Cyrus. I own multiple businesses. I'm a business coach and investor, and I love travel and I love planning. You guys obviously are here because you share that same value, and I think there's a way to do things so that you can overcome chaos but also optimize and like have the most luxurious, amazing time no matter what stage of life you're in. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're ambitious, you're probably saving aggressively, you're probably investing in your dreams, but you should live big too. And I want to just teach you how to do that, and the way that my husband and I have been able to do that while still, again, like prioritizing our dreams and our future. So now we'll get started. So planning your best summer yet for 2024. This is gonna be amazing, but I want you to, again, think about the big three things. So I'll always bring you guys back to these. There are technically 7 buckets that I always teach my students to plan around and consider, but when it comes to summer, the big 3 that I see get to be poured into and like overflow if you do it right are 1, fun, obviously, 2, friends, family, your community, and then 3, your finances. This one can make or break everything, right? I feel like sometimes in the summer it's easy to blow your money or to hoard it, have no fun, and then hit fall and be like, what am I even doing with this year? So there's like a delicate balance between all of it, and I want to be able to show you how you can do it. Summer is a big time for vacation, obviously. I feel like everyone talks about summer vacation. In 2023, 1/3 of American families went on vacations outside of their home state, which I thought was a really interesting fact. What I want you to kind of consider first is, what adventure do you want to take? And I want to say this, I'm 30 years old. I have had years where I grinded through the summer and I did like nothing at all. Those years were not as fun. I've had summers where I really just chilled and had like the time of my life. I've had summers where I blew all my money and traveled around the world, and I've had summers in between. And the summers with balance were usually the years, not just the summers, but the years that I look back most fondly on. I'm a big summer person, I don't know about you, and so I think as Americans this is a very like pinnacle time in the year for us, and it's an important time to take a break, to observe holidays, and to rest and recoup before the rest of the year. Because realistically what happens is we get back into the office end of July, beginning of August, and then it's like August through December hits fast and hard. We have so many different holidays, the market is up and down, lots of sales happen the last half of the year. So if you are very career driven, which I'm willing to bet you are, you're going to see the second half of the year go faster. So again, we kind of have to like make the most of this time with all of those things in mind. So first things first, I want you to think about when you want to do a vacation and what kind of vacation you want to do. What does that look like? I want you to write it on a piece of paper, write it in a note on your computer. Just pause this video to really think about, what do you want to do? Once you've been able to identify what you want to do, I want you to then think about who you want to do it with. So who would you like to come, realistically? Would it be relaxing if all of those people came, right? A huge family vacation where you bring like your aunts, uncles, friends, your best friends from college, like maybe that would be really fun in your head, but it probably wouldn't be very restful. Is that what you need in this season, right? So like think through like, what do you want to do ideally, and then who would you want to do it with to get what you need in this season and for this year. And then from there, the last thing I want you to think about is financially, what is like thoughtful for you to invest in, right? I have taken some of the best vacations ever and gone into debt on accident for it because I went so big, and those were things that I look back so fondly on, and honestly, like some of them were worth it, but other things weren't. especially as I grew in financial literacy. And so I want to challenge you to really think through, like, with the budget that I feel most comfortable and capable with, what could I do? I feel like one thing that I really took for granted for the earlier part of my 20s and mid-20s was staycations, was like day trips or overnight trips or weekend trips. You don't have to go to Europe to have a great time. You do not need to go to Japan to have a like life-altering vacation. Remember that? Allow yourself to really hit that like trifecta that we were able to just identify of who you want to be with, what you want to do, and the actual budget that feels most comfortable for you, because that's going to keep you in that really beautiful zone of everything feeling magic, you being able to rest, and you not overextending. If you're taking care of too many people and not yourself, you're not going to be rested. If you're spending too much money and then you have to come back and grind, you're not going to be rested. And if you're not actually doing something that you want to do, then of course you're not going to feel rejuvenated and rested on the other side. So I want you to think through those three things, and then I want you to look at dates. If you have a partner or if it's just you, depending on that, sync up your calendars, check out, like, kind of get some feelers with your friends or anyone that you want to bring on your vacation. If you want to bring anyone, see what available dates they have and start to chart that out, because you want to be able to have those dates set first and then have summer working around it. Because I think of summer in 3 different pieces. So once you've kind of like outlined the ideal dates to take that vacation, you're going to then be able to identify your first part of summer, right? So I always think of this as like the wind down. So beginning of the year, kind of chaotic, right? You come out of like the chaos and the beauty of the holidays, and then you are just supposed to like wake up and go to work, and it's a new year and you have all these goals and you're like, yes, new year, new me, and then it's 4 weeks later and you're like, this is gonna be a long one, right? Like, wow. And sometimes you hit it so hard and you hit it fast and you kill it, and some years really do start slower. That's fine. Different years have different personalities, just like different people, so give yourself grace, but also understand that like Q1, that first 3 months of the year, is really like a buzz up, and then from there, Q2 is a lot of the time where you make that first big like chunk in your business of revenue. So you kind of can think of like the first 3 months as pre-work, and then the next 3 months from March until June as actually being in the game and actually being able to like make that progress that you're wanting to make. And then from there, you're going to need rest, because again, we talked about that last half of the year, things just ramp up like crazy. So I want you to think about the first part as like figuring out what's working, figuring out in, you know, May and June, what are you loving, what are you hating, what is like aligned with what you want, what is not. Make sure that you have time from where you are today to that beautiful vacation that you have mapped out to give yourself grace to like actually rest. So set boundaries, tell people you work with what it's gonna look like, take off any time you need, tell your mom, I love you, I will call you at the end of this and halfway through, and here's my location if you want it, maybe not, we love boundaries, but like take care of it so that you can actually go on an amazing vacation. That's the first part. Obviously the second part is being on vacation. Go do it. Like, do the dang thing, enjoy it. And then the third part of your summer is going to be figuring out what you actually want and like leisurely stepping into that before things start to ramp up in August. Again, this mindset shift around how you are able to move through summer instead of just like racing and putting your head down and grinding and getting really burnt out in September before like on season hits, allowing yourself to really leisurely move through things is important, because most of the country actually shuts down during this time. 30% of efficiency, this is a Business Week article, 25 to 30% of efficiency in the workplace goes down during June and July. So no matter how hard you grind, I had to learn this lesson, no matter how hard you grind, people will not respond to your email the week of July 4th. I promise you. I promise you. They are not going to respond because they're not in office, right? So like actually be realistic and give yourself space and kind of go with the flow of the market, because when you wake up, if you're well rested and you're ready to go and you've been able to really like chart things out properly, you will be ahead of people more so than ever. than behind. So again, we want to use our grind thoughtfully, because ambition is a beautiful resource that is also limited. You will not always be on, you will not always feel ambitious, but when you take care of yourself, it really does turn on in a beautiful way. It's kind of like a light bulb. So that's the way I want you to think about summer. Additionally, I want to point this out to you. So for the last half of the year, you will, before you kind of like turn on the on switch and go into sales season, which is August until end of November, in that time between, you know, end of July, beginning of August, I would recommend a U weekend. And this is kind of that end cap to the beauty of summer. So think about a time when you can sit down, a weekend where you can dream. It can be a staycation at home, you can rent a hotel if you want to go bougie, but take care of yourself, just unwind, journal, allow yourself space to really like dream about what you want, and just get connected with like where you are, how this year has been, how business is. It is such a game changer when you do this, you guys. I do this every year. I feel like when I have kids, I'll actually turn it into like a week long, hopefully, if my husband allows me. We'll see what happens. It allows for inspiration and kind of that switch to happen. So like I said, you can turn it on and you can go, but you are the mastermind. You know so much more than you realize. The key to your business is you and your inspiration and your vision. And if you aren't taking time to cultivate that and protect it and reconnect with it, you will burn out. And you don't always have to burn out like by just like quitting, hating everything, you know, like having an eat, pray, love moment. Sometimes burnout is just like going through the motions for years and just kind of like doing it because you should and because you said you would. And we never want to be in the should and the could and the would. We just want to be who you are. So put that in cap weekend on the calendar. It doesn't have to be bougie, but it needs to be intentional. And allow yourself to take care of yourself, because everything flows from you, your brain, and most importantly, your heart. So it needs service, it needs maintenance, and it needs a little bit of time. I hope that this made you excited for summer. I hope that this kind of changed the way that you think about summer too. This is like the pit stop of your F1 journey. It is such a fun time. It's a time to live, not just work, because you do not live to work. You work to live and to thrive, if I have anything to say of it. So if you have any questions, please leave anything in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe before you move into the next video, and I will see you soon. Thank you for coming here, and have an amazing day right up your alley.